designed this class called Love on Listings because I know right now across the world, people are saying that listing inventory is very low. As soon as you put a property on the market, if it's in a certain price range, it's selling pretty quickly with multiple offers. And with the climate that we're in with COVID, we know that eventually there are going to be a lot of more listings coming on the market in the next few months. And now is the time to sharpen our skills so that we can take over market share. More listings equals market share. So let's talk about some rules of engagement. I don't have to do the bio because everybody knows who I am or should know who I am right now. So I am a MAPS coach and a BOLD coach. So for our rules of engagement, I'm going to ask that everyone fully participate. If you can unblock your screen, that would be awesome because it takes a lot of energy to do these Zoom classes, and I love to get the energy back that I put in. So I don't care about what your hair looks like, if you don't have makeup on, if your kids are playing WWF in the background, or if the animals are roaming, that's okay. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna learn, so take great notes, ask great questions. We're gonna stay out of judgment, be in curiosity. And then I'm gonna also do some activities with you guys on the screens that's going to really bring some clarity around the goals that you set, where we are, and what we need to do to make sure that we get on track to hit our goals. Because right now, we roughly have 4 months, 3.5 to 4 months to get the business on the books in order for us to hit our goals. And then give yourself some grace. So it's okay if in our homes right now, things aren't normal. Life is not normal. So that's why I shared, it doesn't matter what you look like or what's going on in your household. We're all going through the same things. So it's okay. So in this class, we're going to learn how to have a positive mindset, because 90% of success is mindset and 10% is skill. We have to have the right mindset in order to take over mind share. So mind share is being the first or second place in a client's mind. Everyone knows multiple realtors. If you ask anybody, I know 2, 3, 4, 5 realtors. So the question is, when they think about real estate, do they think about you at the first or second place in their mind share? Secondly, we want to learn to lead generate for market share. More listings equals more market share. Plus, listings are free advertising. If you go and put a sign in the yard and it sells pretty quickly, the neighbors are seeing that. And then you circle prospects. So we're going to learn a lot about circle prospecting around that so that you can get more signs in yards and take over more market share. And then list your way to more revenue. So how many of you got into real estate sales by a show of hands to make more money, besides myself? If you got in real estate to make more money, this is your opportunity. The time to do that is right now. COVID, yes, has affected our lives, and yet people are still selling and buying real estate during COVID, more so now than ever. So there's a lot of opportunity in this market, and we have to take advantage of it. So that's why we're here. So when we talk about mindset, ask yourself this question right now. Where is your mindset? Is it fixed, or is it in a growth mindset phase? When you have a fixed mindset is, I give up easily. I get frustrated when obstacles get in my way. I'm not open to learning new things. I'm either good at it or I'm not. So for example, if you're cold calling and you're going through the list and you get wrong phone numbers, or you get somebody that's not nice on the phone, you give up and say, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. This is not for me. Or if you were hosting open houses or door knocking before COVID hit, and you wasn't getting the results that you expected right away. Oh, I'm not doing this. Somebody was rude to me when I knocked on their door. That's a fixed mindset. When you have a growth mindset, you're welcoming opportunities, you're welcoming challenges. You're saying, you know what, I may not have gotten this listing, or I may have gotten this door shut in my face, or I may have gotten hung up on the phone. And that's okay, because every no is preparing me for that yes. It's helping me better my scripts. So I am going to reference some of the BOLD laws because they are so important in our lives. So when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will actually change. So Instead of saying, I failed at it, I'm not good at it, say, you know what, it didn't go the way that I planned today, and yet I'm going to keep practicing so that I can get better. So I learn from my feedback and I never give up. I keep going. So that's how you move from a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, would you agree that during COVID, many of us had a fixed mindset when it first happened? Some of us may have. We may have said, oh my goodness, people don't want to sell their house. They don't want people to come inside, due to COVID. They're in fear. And that is a reality. That is true. Yet, did we let it stop us? Or did we think of different ways to deal with what's going on and still move forward with our business? So that's how we move from fixed to growth. So when we look at a fixed mindset, how many opportunities have we missed at some point in our lifetime or in our careers? We start something, we give up on it because it's not giving us the results that we desire as quickly. Then we just give up. And we are right there on the other side of that no is where we get our diamonds, where we get our yes. So we never, ever give up on our dreams. We just keep going at it, going at it, going at it. It's like an athlete. If you're working out and you decide you want to get physically fit and you want to be the best athlete, and every time you go in and lift weights, it's going to get harder and harder. If you give up, you'll never achieve your dreams. Yet if you keep pushing, you'll get stronger and stronger. You'll get faster and faster. And that's no different in our real estate business. So we have to not give up on opportunities, because when those opportunities fall in our lap or come knocking at our door, we have to be prepared to receive them. So here are some words of wisdom from Gary Keller. When you interview the very top people and ask them what their biggest challenge is, invariably, they will tell you it's mindset, keeping it strong, keeping it focused and positive amid the many challenges they encounter every day on their way to the top and staying there. The vast majority say this is their top issue. It's not leads, but mindset. It's mindset. So in order to take listings, you have to have leads. In the MREA book, page 44, when you see that triangle, the 3 L's, you have leads, listings, and leverage. Leads is at the base of that triangle. That is the core foundation of our business. Without leads, you can't get listings. When you have more leads, you get more listings. More listings gives you more leverage. You can hire more people. The average agent that focuses on buyers, statistics show that they can only work somewhere between 7 and 8 buyers effectively at any given time. Where if you focus on listings, you can take as an individual agent 30 listings if you choose to in that same amount of time. And those listings will bring buyers. So listings is what you're going to always hear. That's the foundation of a successful real estate business. So what is a lead? We have to be very clear. A lead is not just a name and number on a piece of paper. A lead is someone that is giving you permission to have a two-way conversation. It's a who, a what, a when, a where, and a why. Who is it that's interested in selling real estate? What are they selling? What product are they selling? When do they need it to sell by? Where are they moving to once that sells? And why are they even selling in the first place? That's a lead, a who, what, when, where, and why. Not just the name on a piece of paper. So having extreme clarity between the two is utmost important. Gary says leads are the most important number we need to know. You must know how many leads you must generate to meet your goals. This is from page 110. So let me ask you, and this is where you can unmute yourselves. How many of you, or you can raise your hands, how many of you right now know how many leads, not contacts, how many leads you must have to hit the goals that you set for yourself this year? If you know that number, raise your hand. So let's get some clarity around that. Here are some lead sources. These are the top lead levers, the top lead sources that have been proven to get you the most return on your lead generation efforts. You're going to always hear database. We call it data bank. We have hundreds to thousands of people in our database that we're not connecting with. Some people may be newer and say, well, I don't have a database. If you have this right here and you go to contacts and scroll all the way to the bottom, it'll tell you how many you have in your phone. So you have that many of opportunities to reach out and connect to get leads. So how many of you have ever been like myself, decided I'm gonna pick up my cell phone, I'm gonna go to my contacts, and I'm gonna start calling people, and then you look through your contacts and say, I'm not calling that person. No, not them. I think I want to talk to them today. And then all of a sudden, you didn't call that person, and then you go on social media and find out they bought or sold a house with someone else other than you. How does that make you feel? So we created a system from Never Ending Referrals called the Do the Database To and Do the Database For. And that's contacting 2 or 4 letters of the alphabet every single week. This keeps you out of call bias. So if you're focusing on A and W's, that's whose last name starts with an A or a W. Or if you're doing 4, it could be A and W and B and E. So you're going to look through your list and say, okay, I'm calling these alphabets this week, and I'm going to call everybody on that list. And when you follow this schedule, you will touch everybody on a 13-week cycle in your database. And then you repeat the cycle again. That way you can touch them 4 times a year. And it keeps you out of that call bias with no longer saying, well, I'm not calling them. I haven't talked to them in a long time. Many of us don't call people because we feel guilty that we haven't stayed in touch. So this is going to help you to get better with that. And then you have for sale by owners and expireds. This is so much opportunity in these 2 categories. For sale by owners are fastest source of business opportunity. They already want to sell. They've put a for sale by owner sign in the yard. And the biggest objection they're going to give you is, I want to save money. I don't want to pay a real estate commission. So when you're tackling a for sale by owner, you're not going to go in there with a listing presentation. You're going to go with a problem presentation. They have a problem and you're the agent to solve it. So once you handle that objection and show them your value proposition, you can get the listing. How many of you ever passed through a neighborhood before and saw a for sale by owner sign, you took a picture with your phone, or you wrote it down on a sticky note or a napkin and said, I'm gonna call them later. And you didn't call them. Then you roll by another day or a few days later, you do the same thing, you never call them. And then the following week, you see a real estate sign in the yard. And then you say, man, I knew I should have called them. They want a list. For sale by owner, statistics show we'll list within 2 weeks of putting that for sale by owner sign in the yard on average. And expireds have already waved their hand saying, come list my house. We know they want to sell. They just had the wrong agent the first time. So this is opportunity. You don't have to dig for the diamonds because they're right there on the surface. All you have to do is pick them up. This is how you work smart and not hard. Database for sale by owner and expires. And then we have agent referrals. How many of you right now are tapping into your agent referral network by a show of hands? Really build these relationships with other real estate agents, because there's so much potential, especially in the New Orleans market. There are so many people that are actually looking for agents in this area, and they're tagging the same 4 to 5 agents. When you have hundreds to thousands of agents in the city, why aren't they tagging you? Build that referral network with those agents, because you can do just as many sales through agent referrals than you can anywhere else. And then allied resources. How many of you are actually reaching out to your vendors? You use the same home inspectors, use the same mortgage lenders, the same title reps. And are you asking them, same photographers, are you asking them for business back? You're giving them all your business, yet are you asking for at least 1 lead a quarter? 1 lead a quarter. Don't have the mindset that, oh, well, they know a bunch of agents. Well, if they're your top referral, they should be giving you business back. Ask for it. And then we circle prospect. How many of you are actually taking a listing, you close that listing, and you circle prospect around it? Or you take a listing and it goes under contract and you circle prospect around it? This is opportunity. You put a sign in the yard, especially in today's market. You put it under contract. 24 hours, multiple offers. You pick up the phone and you call the neighbors and say, hey, I just listed this property at 123 Main Street. We have went under contract in 24 hours with multiple offers. What that means is, out of the multiple offers, we got 6. One person was the lucky buyer, the lucky winner. Yet we have another 5 people that didn't win the bid. They want to be in this area. So do you know of anybody in this area that's looking to sell their home? These people are ready to go. This is a great opportunity for you to take advantage of market share. Celebrate your successes. Don't just be that secret agent. I put the sign in, sell it, I rip it up out the yard, and I'm on to the next prospect. The diamonds are there. You just have to go and pick them up. And then social media. Are you careful with the message that you're putting out? What is the intention behind social media? It can be good or it can be bad, depending on how you utilize it. If you look at your phones, the analytics will tell you how much time you actually spend on social media a day. So if you're looking at your phone and you spend 3 hours collectively, 2 hours collectively, 4 hours or more on social media, what message are you sending out to get a return on that investment of time? Are you celebrating those successes? I put another home under contract. I just listed this fabulous property. Here are my client testimonials. Do you have a call to action to get your phone ringing? If you're a person that's on there and you're talking about everything else that's not valuable, people will start spamming you. Or if you notice that on your post, you're not getting that many likes or you're not getting that many comments, it's because the message you're putting out is not of value to people. So be careful of the message you're sending out and maximize your potential so that you can get business from there, because many of us have 5,000 friends. What would it look like if you just tapped in to 10% of those 5,000, 5% of those 5,000, 2.5% of those 5,000? How many more pieces of business would that give you? And then business to business. Which companies do you give all your business to? You go to the same doctors, the same dentists, the same cleaners, the same hairdressers, the same barbers, the same auto mechanics. You do business with the same people because we're creatures of habit. You go to the same restaurant. I go sit at this restaurant all the time. I know all the people that work there. Yet are you letting them know that you are a neighborhood expert, an area expert, and asking, say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Restaurant owner, I come here all the time. I love your food, and I'm always telling people to come here. I have a question for you. I'm constantly growing your business. Would you be okay helping me grow mine? I'm in real estate sales, and I would love to earn your referrals. Do you know any of your family, friends, or customers that might be looking for a great real estate agent in the area? Would you mind if I leave some business cards? so that when people are waiting for their table, they can grab a business card in the waiting area. Ask for that business. And then open houses. For those of you that are doing in-person open houses, you have a massive opportunity right here. People are tired of being inside. So if you market that open house properly, you'll get people there. And if you're not doing in-person open houses, how can I maximize the digital space and get more likes, get more hits? Do a walking tour, make it engaging and inviting. And then the more you do that live video, people will engage. And you can sell a lot of houses just through digital open houses. So when you take a look at these lead sources, and there are many more, yet these are the top ones. When you take a look at this, screenshot it or write them down, and then go back and look at 2019 and the first half of 2020 and ask yourself, how many pieces of business did I close in each one of these categories? I closed 3 from open houses. I closed 15 from database. I closed 1 for sale by owner. Write that number down and then go and multiply that by your GCI. And the top 3 to 5 sources are the ones you want to spend your time in, not the ones and twosies, the ones that are giving you the maximum return on your investment. Because right now we have to get real and get right about where we are in relation to the goals that we set, and understand that we have a short amount of time to get there. You can get there. Number one, you have to believe that you deserve to hit that goal, and you have to be willing to take action through strategic systems and models. So let's look at our lead conversion ratios. How many leads must you talk to? How many contacts must you talk to get a lead? And how many leads do you need to get an actual appointment? And how many appointments to equal a closing? So if you're talking to 40, 50, 60 people and you don't even have a lead, we have a conversion problem. That means we have to fine tune our listing presentations and our scripts and objection handlers. So a good lead conversion would be 12 contacts to 1 lead. That's 12 people I call, somebody's going to give me a lead. And it will take 5 leads to get 1 appointment. And for every 2 appointments will equal 1 closing. So in essence, 60 people that you talk to will result into 1 appointment. Or 120 people that you talk to will equal to 1 closing. And then 10 leads are people that are ready, willing, and able, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, able, ready, and willing to do business with you right now, between now and the next 12 months. 10 leads to equal 1 closing. So screenshot this and then be intentional with your lead generation. So when you're making calls today, moving forward, jot down how many people am I talking to before I get a lead? And you do that every day, and then you will be able to see if you have a good conversion or if you have room for improvement. Now, how many listings do I need to carry at all times to hit my goal? Who on here, by show of hands, know that number? You know exactly how many listings you must carry to hit your goal. See, clarity is power.
I do, Vasha.
Who is that, Benita?
Yeah.
Benita, good. Would you be my case study?
Sure.
Good. Would you tell me how many listings you must carry to hit your goal?
45.2.
45.2 listings. Is that for the year or at every month?
That's for the year.
For the year. Okay, I'm glad. That's why I asked that question, because we're going to break it down to per month. How many do I need to have per month?
3.8.
How many?
3.8.
3.8. I love that you know your numbers. So for those of you that don't, let's look at this. We're going to walk through this, and you should be reevaluating this every month. So let's look at the number of closed transactions we set in the beginning of the year to hit this year. We're not going to change our mindset and say, oh, COVID happened, I'm going to readjust my goal. We never adjust the goal. We always adjust the activities. So whatever that number is, write it down. How many transactions did I set to close this year? That would be A. Miss Joan, yes.
Can you go back to the previous screen that you had? I just want to take a snapshot of it,
Yes,
please. It was
that one.
that one, yes. Thank you.
Okay, and if you need any of these slides, reach out to me afterwards and I'll send them to you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so your goal is A, the number of transactions you intended to close this year. Now calculate your fallout. It's going to be 10% because every listing is not going to sell. Every listing may not sell. So you're going to take your goal times 10% and that gives you your fallout. So if 10% is 4 and your goal was 40, then you have to have 44. So now add the number of your goal plus that 10% fallout. So we're going to add it back in there. So that's C. A plus B equals C. So now what percentage of my closings will be listings? Not every deal you close is going to be listings. So is it 60-40? Is it 50-50? 50 buyers, 50% buyers, 50% sellers? Is it 60%? Is it 40? Whatever that number is, what percentage of closings will be listings? So you put that in D. You need to know that number because we're working with buyers and sellers. Now once, Ms. Benita?
I'm here.
Oh, I thought you had a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was saying, I'm just.
Okay, the next thing is.
I'm listening and learning.
Okay. Now multiply the number of your goal plus 10% fallout by the percentage of closings. And don't forget the decimal point. So take C, multiply that by D, and that gives you E. So C times D equals E. And then what percentage of your listings actually sell? So say we took, Benita had a goal of 45 listings. Say you've taken this December 31st, you've taken 45 listings and yet you have 10 that are not under contract. So we need to know what percentage of them sell. So you put that there. That's not the same as the fallout. The fallout is those that did not sell. They fired you as an agent or you released the listing. It's not yours anymore. The percentage of listings are the ones that actually sell. That's F. Now divide the listings needed to close by the percentage of listings sold. So you would take E, divide that by F, and you would get G. And then what's your average days on market? Your personal average days on market. If you don't know that, you can go to the MLS and pull that up. You can go to KW under reports and go over to sales transaction list and detailed summary. And you can scroll to the bottom and it'll give you your average days on market. If you don't know, go get with the Market Center leadership and ask them to help you with this. Put your average days on market. If you've never sold a property yet, use the Market Center average days on market or the MLS. And then what's your average turnover rate? So we're going to divide the average days on market into 365. So take 365 and divide that by H, and that will give you I. And then lastly, the number of listings you must carry at all times to hit your goal. So you would take G and divide that by I to get J. So once you have this number, someone unmute yourself and share with me what that number is.
That's too sophisticated for me, Vasha. I got to G, 11.3.
Okay.
Now, average days on market for all properties on market. Are you looking for absorption rate?
Yes, your average days on market. If you look at all the properties you've sold.
Oh, my average days on market.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So is that 26? Is it 30? Is it 60? Is it 15? Whatever your average days on market.
Okay, I'm gonna have to.
And then you divide 365 by that number. Now, for those of you that aren't physically doing this right now, screenshot this and then go back and figure this out because clarity is power. So a rule of thumb is this. if your number is low, that means you don't have to carry that many listings. So if say if your number is 4 or 5, that means every month you only have to have 4 or 5 listings at all times because your listings are selling fast. If your number is 10, 15, 20, it's high, that means we have a pricing problem. That means we're taking listings and we're not selling them quickly. So we need to get that number as low as possible. So many people I'm finding don't know this. They don't know this formula and they wonder why I'm not hitting my goal. And if you need help with this, I'm gonna leave my number at the end. You can call me and we'll walk through this. So now you have someone that says I'm interested in doing real estate, but buying real estate or selling real estate now or within the next 12 months. Are they able, ready, and willing? We used to hear ready, willing, and able. Anyone can be ready. Anybody can be willing. Yet when we go and pull their credit with the lender and look at their finances, they're not able. So we look at, are they able, ready, and willing? Are they able, financially able to complete the transaction now? And as it relates to sellers, do they have enough equity in their home to even sell it? And if they don't, do they have the reserves to bring to the table for the deficiency? And are they ready to make a strategic decision now? And are they willing to take action right now? Don't go on listing appointments just for listing appointments' sake. Go on listing appointments with people that are able, ready, and willing to sell. It is nothing more discouraging than going on a listing appointment and you've given them an hour of your time or an hour and a half of your time, and then you find out they're not even willing to list. They just wanted to test out the market. That's because we didn't pre-qualify them. So do this for every appointment, whether it's a buyer or a seller. Don't put buyers in your car that have not been pre-qualified by a lender and had their financials ran, because you'll be showing homes, and they're not qualified, and then they fall in love with something and they can't purchase it. Now you've gotten this lead, you've gotten the appointment. Do you have a stellar listing presentation? What are you bringing to that appointment? I call them your props. Do you have a prop? And do you know that listing presentation? Do you know it enough to where you don't even need to look at it? You can just put it in front of the seller and then you just flow. Do you know that? If you don't have one, we've given you one in command. It's easily customizable within a few clicks of a button. Have a listing presentation available, because the words that you speak may go in one ear and out the other, or they may forget something. This presentation is something that you can leave with them, go through it and walk them through it so they can see it physically on paper, or if you're using your iPad or something like that, they can see it. So you get through your listing presentation, and then they tell you that I'm going to interview another agent. So what's your unique selling proposition? What sets you apart from the agent you're going up against? Kathy and Joan, you may be going up against the listing at the same time. One of you gonna get the listing. How are you gonna win it? One of you may be a $30 million producer. One of you may be brand new. Does that mean a $30 million producer is gonna get the listing?
Not really.
There you go.
It's probably going to be me.
There you go.
Oh, I don't think so. And then again, we may team up.
That's an option. So it doesn't mean because they have more production that they're going to get the listing. You need to know what sets you apart. Why should they specifically do business with you? So this is what features and benefits you bring to the table. It could be your professional or personal background, education and special interests, talents and skills, whether developed in your real estate practice or elsewhere. So what if you're brand new, yet you had real estate sales back, I mean, not real estate, you had a sales background somewhere else and you was killing it where you were at that job and you was all these accolades. You can tie that into real estate, your customer service experience and sales experience. We're just selling a different product. That's all. We're selling a different product. So if you don't have a unique selling proposition, this is your homework in addition to the lead source and the listings needed form. Go back and figure this out. And don't make it a bunch of fluff. It don't need to be a half a page long. You should be able to spew this off in 15 seconds. Okay? And if you need more clarity, go on Google and Google real estate value propositions. Go look up Uber and see what their unique selling proposition is. Go look at some of the top companies and see what their unique selling proposition is. And that'll give you some clarity around it. So you've went through this, you sold them on picking you as the agent, you've gotten the listing agreement signed, it's time to celebrate, you can kick up your heels. It's time to now really do our job, market that listing, and you get it sold. So you get it sold, what comes next? Reviews. Are you surveying your clients? When and how should you survey your customers? Who would like to answer that question for me?
At the closing table.
That's what I was going to say.
At the closing table, what other opportunities can we survey them?
Each phase of the transaction.
Yes, each phase of the transaction. Nicole, what would be the first opportunity that you would survey one?
Oh, I guess it depends on the seller or the buyer. So if you're working with a buyer, you can survey them once they start looking at properties and give for them to give you feedback. Once they're under contract, once they're through the inspection period, just getting, you can ask a couple of questions on how you're doing. And then, of course, you can ask them about the loan process, how that's working. And then finally at closing, and then you could always just send them something about a week after closing, after they settle into their property.
Yes. Now, what about a seller?
So on a seller, you can survey once it goes on the market. After feedback, you can also on a seller, how's your service as far as communication throughout the process?
Yeah. And let me give you some other ideas. You can survey them, number one, when they sign a listing agreement, because you obviously done something right to get them to even sign with you. Number two, once you get a buyer for that property, that's the best time to get it because they've gotten an offer. And if you do that early, because we know as in real estate, something can go wrong and may go wrong in a transaction, especially around inspection period and after. If stuff starts going wrong and you haven't prepared yourself and handled those things as quickly enough as you should, and the seller starts getting stressed, your chances of getting a good survey is getting slimmer and slimmer, because regardless of what happens, it's your fault. We know that. We've experienced that. If the buyer go and do something and they need to extend the contract, it's your fault. If they go buy a car and don't qualify, it's your fault. Everything becomes a realtor fault in the eyes of a client sometimes. That's the reality. So when you survey them earlier, you got it, they're not going to take it back. So say your transaction went smoothly. You can survey them again right when the closing disclosure comes out, before closing. You can survey them at the closing table. You can survey them 7 days after. Now, after that, getting the survey is going to be pulling teeth because they're moving, they're focused on everything else and not that. So you can survey them at any time from the listing agreement to after closing. The key is to get a survey. And if you set the expectation at the appointment, at the listing presentation, now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I appreciate the opportunity that you chose me to represent you on this transaction. And my goal is to always get you the most amount of money that the market will allow and sell your house in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Now, throughout the transaction, I'm going to ask you how I'm doing and if there's anything that I can do better. And my agreement is to make you a happy client and a client for life. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm going to ask you of something in you in return, and that's to please survey me, because this is how other potential clients see me. This is reviews. Everybody goes online and looks at reviews. So would you do that for me? They're going to say yes. And so when you're checking in on them through the transaction and you're asking them, have I been fulfilling my promise each time? Then they'll be more inclined to give it to you early on. So ask for those testimonials and reviews and avoid pitfalls. Many people treat a client as a one and done. Don't be that girl or guy. They drop the contact with the client after closing. They leave all the rapport and equity on the table instead of getting numerous deals from them. Tell them, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I build clients for life. You're not just the one and done. You become an extension to my family. I never go away. So I don't care if it's months later, years later, always know that I am here to answer any questions you may have. And I'll be checking up on you throughout the process. And one thing I'm going to ask is that after the closing, that I'm going to put you on a follow-up system. And that's going to send you monthly pieces of information. And I'm going to ask that you please not spam me, because this is going to be things about reminders about your home. It's going to be reminders about the warranties. It's going to be market updates. It's going to be all sorts of things. What's coming into our area. And this is going to be helpful information to you. So please don't spam me. When you set that expectation up front, they won't do it. If you don't do that, they spam you because they feel like, well, I've already closed. I don't need to see all this information. They don't even know what it is and they just spam, 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 delete, delete, delete. And then you feel like I've been in touch and you didn't realize they spammed you. And then life happens, some circumstances change. And then you see on social media or you pass by their house and see a for sale sign and it's not yours. So build a client for life, not just the one and done. So what follow-up systems are you using? Command is there. Is it perfect? No. It works though. It gives you what you need. Put them on a smart plan. Put them on a neighborhood nurture. When you close that transaction, put them back as an active lead, because what happens is it goes in a never, never land and they're no longer marketed to. And if you follow the DTD2 or DTD4 in connection with the smart plan, you'll stay top of mind and take over mind share. So at Keller Williams, we always talk about culture. And one of our 6 personal perspectives is moving from E to P. That's moving from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Many of you got successful based on your entrepreneurial style. That's doing what comes naturally. Your drive, enthusiasm, intuition, natural behavior, and spontaneity. And then you hit this ceiling. I can't seem to get past 30 deals. I can't seem to get past 50 deals, or whatever that number is, year after year. Then you can't break through and you hit a ceiling and it leads to disappointment, then resignation, and then you're searching for greener pastures. You hit another ceiling, and then the cycle just repeats itself. So how do I break through that ceiling? You do that through training, coaching, and consulting. Always be learning. Zoom is new to many of us. We're used to being in people's face and hugging on them and talking to them. And the reality is this is our new normal for a while. Get used to it. It's not going anywhere. This Zoom environment. Even when COVID is gone, Zoom is going to be here. So take advantage of all the training. We have been ranked in the top training company across all industries. So pick the trainings you want to take and always be learning. Top agents take on average 20 training courses a year, paid training courses. So this is how you break through that ceiling of achievement, because now someone is holding you accountable and pushing you to be purposeful and intentional. You have focus, you have strategic options, you're implementing models and systems along with that accountability. So what's your next step? We're past the midway point through the year. You look at the goal you set, you look at where you are, and then you take that number of transactions, that gap, and multiply that by your GCI, your average GCI, and look at how much money you stand to leave on the table. And if you've already hit your goal, raise the bar. Maybe you set a goal too low. Bet on yourself. Right now, we are in a trying time, and we have to get real and get right about where we are. Some of us used to say, well, if real estate don't work, I just go get a job, a regular job. Like this is a hobby or something. Well, guess what? We're in COVID. It's not very many regular jobs. So if this doesn't work and you don't really survive and thrive, what are you going to do? We have to first survive, and then we have to thrive. The shift book says that we have a market shift and an economic shift. The market shift is every January to April. We know we'll sell some real estate, and yet on average, you don't make as much money as you would during the summer months when real estate is at an all-time high. People are selling. And then it kind of tapers off toward October, November, and December. We have 3.5 to 4 months to hit goal. Are you willing to leave that much money on the table? If you're not, get in a bold pivot, get into MAPS coaching, get some kind of accountability. Go get an accountability partner, script and role play practice every day. An accountability partner that's going to hold you to those goals you set. So for those of you that did take bold pivot in May, I'm going to briefly share with you the results. It usually takes 90 days to start seeing the full impact of bold. This is just in 30 days. For the month of June, 46% more people added contacts to command. 39% more opportunities were created. 79% more smart plans were created. 133% more campaigns were created. This is the goal right here. 9% more people wrote contracts and 14% more listings taken, all during COVID. All during COVID. We have market centers that's reporting they had their biggest month in profit share in June because of the agents that took bold. It starts again August 4th. We originally were supposed to start July 14th. We pushed it to August 4th. The investment is the same of $99. If you choose to do this, it's at mapscoaching.com. You cannot afford not to do it. If you take one thing that you can apply in your business, it's worth the return on investment. Even if it's mindset, I have a better mindset. I'm better at time blocking. I've gotten more lead generation activities. I now know how to hit my goal. Whatever that one thing is, it's worth the investment. And to give you some differences between May and August, we have a lot of differences. The times and dates are going to be the same. We changed the Facebook page, created a new one called Bold Pivot August. It's already up and live. People that are already registered and have been registered are taking advantage of live coaching corners every Wednesday from 1 to 3. We're going to have special guests this time. We're going to have a lot of special guests, single agents. They're going to be coming in telling you how they're killing it during COVID. How one agent closed 27 transactions as a solo agent in the month of June because of Bold Pivot during COVID. We're going to have new guests, new speakers, new coaches. We're going to have new content. And this time we're going to put accountability. Many of you are asking for accountability. We're going to give that to you. This was never intended to be the bold experience that you got in 2.0, a classic bold. It can't be because we're not in the room over 7 weeks. Yet we gave you a condensed version of the market of the moment with some bold content. $7.99 versus $99. You can't afford not to. Right now, what you do this month is going to determine how you're going to finish your year. The next one won't start till October 20th. By that time, we're goal setting for 2021. So you have between now and October 31st to get that number of transactions for your gap under contract in order to close this year. If not, you'll be focusing on 2021. So here are some action steps. I'm going to ask that you review your goals that you set. Don't change the goal. Change the activities. Be intentional. Use a planner. Time block everything. Lead generation, affirmations, daily script practice, lead follow-up, and just be intentional about what you're putting in the hours that you have. If you don't have an appointment, your job is to lead generate all day long until you get one. It's not say I did my 3 hours of lead generating, I did my 30 contacts. No, your job is to lead generate all day until you get one. If you did a GPS, look at it. That's your 1 goal, 3 priorities, 5 strategies. If you didn't do one, now is the time to do one for the rest of the year. Or you can do a 411. That's a monthly goal, monthly planner goal. If you need help with this, you can reach out to me afterwards. You can reach out to your market center leadership and we can do this together. Double down on your lead generation. It's going to take you talking to more people just to hold the business you currently have, because the second wave is coming. So if you were talking to 30 people a day, you need to be talking to 60. Some people were saying, I don't even talk to 30 a week. This is your defining moment. This is going to determine if your license is still going to be active, or are you going to have to do something different because you're not making money to stay in the industry. Your defining moment. So double down on your lead generation, because some of you that have been through a shift, you know what that looks like. You survived it and you thrive. And you first must survive and then you thrive. Every year, agents get off the roster at the end of the year. This is going to be the year where we're going to have more agents getting out of the business than ever. And those that survive and thrive are the ones that's going to really flourish, because it's going to be less competition in the market and more inventory. Implement that accountability. Go get a role play partner, MAPS coaching, take bold, and then go back and look at that listings needed form. So now I'm going to ask everybody to unmute themselves and share with me what you learned. And this is the time to ask any questions that you may have.
I need to get busy for one thing, and I need to know my numbers so I can be Johnny on the spot to know exactly what I need to do. And I'm working on that. I've been working on that, so.
And I appreciate that, Joan. And guess what? The thing is that you're moving forward.
Good, thank you.
You're not giving up. It's one day at a time.
Yeah.
What if and give yourself some grace. Don't be hard on yourselves. Some of us set goals that we don't think they're achievable. I am here to give you energy when you don't have any. I'm here to give you hope when you don't have any. When you're running short on it, I got your back. Even if you just do one day at a time, one lead a day, one lead a day will get you closer to your goal.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What does that affiliate script look like?
So it can be a number of ways. So one thing that I like to do is I like to have a meeting with my vendors twice a year, at minimum once. And I go back and I review how much business we've given to them. And I really love to do this around October when we goal setting for 2021, because I always like to look at my budget. How much money do I plan on spending on marketing and different things? So we set that goal in October for the new year. And then I look at who we've given so much business to, and I look at who hasn't given me business or have given me very little. And then I just have the conversation. Hey, I would love to sit down and have coffee with you, or lunch, or we can do a Zoom call. I'm doing some planning for next year, or doing some reflection back over my year. And I would just love to just review our partnership and say, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I've, looked back and I've given you 30 deals this year, and you are on my preferred vendors list. You are in the top 3 people that I refer to all my clients. And I love to create win-win relationships. Would you agree that we have to be in a win-win partnership? So with that being said, because I value you and I appreciate the job that you're doing for my clients, I would love to build a relationship to where we're referring each other business. If I'm giving you 70% or 80% of my client base, I'm going to ask that we set an agreement to where you give me at least 1 lead a quarter. It's up to me to convert them. I know you know a bunch of real estate agents, yet how many of them have you in their number 1, 2, or 3 spot? And then you just ask for the business. You just have a good conversation full of energy. Don't go with a negative mindset. Bad energy leads to a bad conversation. Because often they don't realize it. They're not even thinking about it. They're appreciating you, yet they didn't think about, oh, let me just, go give this person this business. They give it to the people that they have a great relationship with. So build those relationships. It's that simple.
Thank you. It all boils back down to the numbers, and your numbers that you have with them. Thank you.
Yeah. So what else have you learned?
So hi, Vasha. This is Kim Thomas.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. So I appreciate the conversation just now, because actually what I am being more intentional on right now is focusing on the ally resources, right? And actually going back and reaching back out to those vendors who I do business with a lot. And so like one of the vendors has a Keller Williams agent that works in his office, and I make no assumptions, but I'm pretty sure that she gets a lot of business from him. And so I don't want to feel like I don't want to create like a bad wave. So I'm trying to have that good conversational piece with that vendor to have that conversation, with him or her, so that I can open up conversation and do that asking that, if that makes any sense. So what I'm saying.
Yeah, it does. And it's Kim, it's never about what you say, it's how you say it. It's always our delivery. So you just have a intentional, high energetic conversation, and you're bringing clarity to them about the situation. We all have a favorite person. I'm okay being the number 2 person. I just want to reciprocate. I want to be able to reciprocate the level of service to anybody I do business with. And then I want to receive the same service back.
Hi,
So,
Vasha.
no, I'm just saying, so ask for it. And then don't be afraid. I don't care how great they are. Don't be afraid to walk away from that relationship, and you hold them accountable every quarter. If I haven't gotten a lead, hold them accountable, because guess what? There is somebody else that's just as good out there.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. That's true.
Yeah.
Hi, Vasha. This is Nicole. I have a particular lender that I use primarily because I know he can close deals. Like, no matter what, he does everything up front, and I know he closes deal. Now, he has a great relationship with one particular agent who actually referred me to this lender.
Mm-hmm.
So I know probably 90% of the deals he gets, he's going to refer to her, and I can assure he sent me one over the past few years that I've been working with him. However, I look at it in a different way, because if I have a home buying seminar, he's always there. If I need him to sponsor something, he's always there. So I look for other ways other than just the lead for him to support me. So that could be another option, Gil.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. That is a huge opportunity. We have vendors that just pay for a lot of marketing for us. They do some of our events. That's fine. So even if they're not giving you that real estate lead, yet they are bringing value to you in your business in some way outside of just the transaction. So whether it be partnering with you on a seminar or an event. That's fine too. So thank you so much, Nicole, for bringing and sharing that. Okay. So again, I'm so honored that you guys allowed me to do this today. I know you don't see me that often, yet I'm always in New Orleans. I'm just a phone call away at any time. So I care about each and every one of you. I've also been watching your growth. That's what I do as a coach. I watch the growth, and I saw so much growth in each of you. And I appreciate you guys surviving, thriving, and spending time with me today. So if you don't have my contact information, it is here. And just know that I'm always just a phone call away. So you can never call me or text me too much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
I really appreciate it.
you're welcome, and y'all have an amazing day. And I also want to say thank all of you that is always constantly helping me out too. Being in 2 different markets, that's like night and day. Because Texas is totally different than Louisiana. You guys, we're on the island by ourselves in Louisiana with the rules. So I'm always calling you guys saying, hey, because I don't do a whole lot of business there, yet I'm being more intentional about that. And so now that I am, some of you guys are calling me and saying, Vasha, so thank you guys so much for always bringing something to my attention or always being able to answer my questions. We're one team. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vasha.
All right, y'all have an amazing day.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's see. Stop share. Okay, stop share.